Welcome back to the Zero Weakness Podcast, where we talk about how to be a better lifter, how to be a better coach, and everything in between. Make sure you subscribe and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Zero Weakness Podcast. This podcast is sponsored by Establishment Coffee. Go to establishmentcoffee.com.au, use the code 025 to get 25% off your order and free shipping. Hello everyone. How are we doing?
Fantastic.
Fantastic. We're doing good.
Haere mai, tamariki ma. Just been in New Zealand for the weekend. I don't even know what that means. I think that means welcome children.
Well, haere mai means come here.
It's come here children then. You know what that's from?
What?
Susie Cato?
Yeah. She taught everyone in New Zealand te reo.
Yeah.
Our age. Is she still around?
Probably.
She was the goat.
Don't know. Yeah,
she was huge for the culture. Blonde, white lady.
Good.
Loved it.
Good. I love when I see things come up about like people getting roasted for not saying the words properly or not pretending like they don't know what they are or like acting like it's stupid to have to say the words. Anyway.
No, I feel you. Brother. All right.
What's everyone been up to?
Yes, well, like I said, I was in New Zealand for the weekend. We had young Theo Maddox.
The mad scientist.
The milkman.
The mad scientist.
Yeah.
He competed as a 20-year-old now. He's an old man compared to last time he competed. Competed at the Ruthless Barbell Defiance meet in Tauranga. And he went 1,012.5.
Insane.
Which is annoying because I totaled that equipped and in wraps. And he did it as a 12-year-old in sleeves.
As a 12-year-old.
So well done, Theo.
Amazing.
He becomes the 8th 1,000-kilo total for Zero in the last 10 months, which is wild. 3 of those were done by Joseph Whitaker.
But he is the first one to do it in sleeves.
First to do it in sleeves, youngest to do it. So wild lifting by Theo over there. And Mike from Ruthless, he's done the coach development course. I've been friends with him for a long time, and he's a great guy, and he's running a great show over there. So well done to Mike and the team for the competition that they put on. But yeah, that's what I've been up to, and getting ready for nationals this weekend.
Yeah.
What about you guys, CJ?
Not too much really. I guess, yeah, just in a way kind of prepping for nationals, getting ready media-wise. That's it really.
How many views is your reel up to? 15K?
I think so.
Yeah, I looked at it a few days ago. It was like 14.
I knew he was acting different when he walked in.
15.2, viral guy.
Viral guy.
Nice.
He had a little bit of a pep in his step when he walked in, eh?
Yeah.
So that is a competition.
Oh.
Yeah, one of my mates begged me. They announced it before I went to the Philippines, but I was like, oh, no. And yeah, it's his mate's company that's holding this comp that you have to use their song. You have to use the color yellow, and it has to be a minute long.
Oh.
And yeah, make whatever. And
I was wondering about the little like lightning things you put on because I feel like that wasn't really your style.
no, not at all.
And
Not
so
at all.
that's obviously how you got the yellow in.
Yes, yeah. And then, yeah, well, hopefully I win.
Getting the dub.
What's the comp?
The winner gets 5K.
Wow.
Second place, so the company that's holding the comp, they're called Audio Sugar, and they are like one of those places where you pay a subscription and you get to use all their music in your videos.
Yeah, okay.
So second prize, you get like a personal track made for you, and then third prize, you get a year free subscription. So
And what's the competition? Like it's a creative video? Or?
yeah, literally just make a minute reel using the color yellow, and then they gave me 3 tracks to choose from.
Yeah.
And I use, I think, 2 of them.
Yeah, sick.
So I don't
have
know
you
when
seen
they're-
any of the other entries?
I have.
Where do you think you stand? Be
Um,
honest.
I don't know.
You're smoking.
I don't know. Yeah.
You can tell by the smile on his
Yeah,
face.
Yeah.
we'll see. It's hard because it's chosen by the people.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So
But you are for the people, CJ.
I am. I'm the people's champ.
You are.
That's right.
So I've one question about the reel. There's a scene or a quick clip where it's just filming the revs.
Mm-hmm.
Were you driving when you did that, or were you just sitting down and revved it up?
I was driving and a mate was filming. Yeah.
A mate was filming.
Yes, yeah, mate.
A mate, my left hand,
I reckon CJ said, Jesus, take the wheel.
driving with his knees out. I put my foot down 180.
If there's any man that can say that, it's you, CJ. You're a beautiful man of God.
Well done, man. When do you find out the results?
I don't know. They've now started to post the reels.
We'll find out when CJ doesn't show up to work.
No. We'll see.
He's won 5K. He doesn't need a job anymore.
Retire.
What have you been up to, James?
Me, not much. Week 4, broken rib update was on Sunday. Slowly starting to train a little bit harder. Just a little bit. That's it.
How many days a week are you training?
I don't know. Maybe.
It's like 3, isn't it? Or more?
No, it's almost every day.
Really?
Yeah,
Nice.
just doing 3 or 4 exercises every day. Trying to keep me sane. I'm just trying to keep my step count above 10,000 because apparently that's the magic number we use in the fitness industry.
Nice.
But it's actually pretty good. It's actually when you're, I don't know about you guys, but I've never actively tried to hit 10,000. I've always just been really active, like running and playing sports or whatever. So I've never had to try. But this is the first time I've had to try, and it's actually quite hard.
I've never counted my steps.
Me.
Like the only time I've seen a step count is when I'm with someone else who's counting steps.
Yeah, right.
So like in Turkey on one of the days we hit 40K. That day was fucked.
Yeah.
That is hectic.
That was a big day. I think because my walk in the morning is about an hour and 10 minutes. And then I walk quite a bit around here. I reckon I probably crack maybe 12K a day, something like that.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's if you walk an hour and 10, that's quite a lot. But 40K is nuts because on my days where I do long runs, like if I did like a 30K run, my step count would be about 40K by the end of the day.
Yeah.
I think I would have done that every day when I worked in the hospitality industry.
Because you were going up and down stairs as well,
It was
right?
hell. I couldn't put on
Stuff
weight. I couldn't
that.
gain any weight. I was about 5 kilos lighter than what I am now. It was hell.
Dang. Oh.
Bridget, what about you? What have you been up to?
Me, not much. Just really loving training. Still pushing accessories and my SBD variations. But I'm getting a new housemate. Very excited. She's moving in a few weeks. And that's about it. Oh, I'm going on, actually, no, I booked an astronomy night.
Oh,
Okay,
nice.
Yeah. It's going to be on the winter solstice, which is like the longest night of the year.
Yes.
And you go out, they organize these nights, they bring telescopes and you get to look at everything that's happening in the universe and they give you a star chart. And
Is it local or do you have to go?
no, it's local. Yeah, they're held in different locations, like once a month.
It's coming up soon, isn't it? End of June?
In like 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks.
Yeah, nice.
10 days, I think. So yeah, I'm pumped for that. That's about the most exciting thing that's happening in my life at the moment. But yeah, it's good. And just watching lots of movies.
Yeah.
When I saw the news.
Thoughts on 2001?
What a cinematic masterpiece.
For its time, I can see why it would have been so incredible because it was filmed before the moon landing. So like to see something to do with outer space would have been pretty mind-blowing. And also to do with AI as well, which would have been a big thing back then.
I didn't realize it was that old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost 55 years old.
Oh
Jesus.
my gosh.
Yeah.
But it's a
What?
real slow burner. So you got these really long panning shots that go on for like 5-6 minutes at a time. So
It definitely was ahead of its time. And have you, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but have you guys, there's lots of conspiracies behind it as well. So,
wasn't David telling you some?
yeah, so the name of the computer is HAL, H-A-L. You've seen it, Thomas?
No.
Okay. So the name of the computer is HAL, and it's AI. And they reckon back in that it was a stab at IBM, because IBM was, they were big in the computer space, big in the technology space, and they were kind of taking over. And I guess this is around the period where, like, we still do it today. We're like, oh no, technology's taken over, soon we're not gonna whatever. So they reckon it's a stab at IBM because HAL is the second letter, is the letters next to IBM.
Yeah, of course.
Mm.
Yeah, of course. David has like a back pocket conspiracy
He's got
theory.
a conspiracy theory for everything. I love listening to his
Wilcock?
conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
just ask him about it.
He loves it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is really random. We're going to get into some powerlifting stuff soon. Did any of you guys see my story this morning? I thought it was fucking funny and no one responded to it.
About the coffee?
No.
didn't
When I
see it,
filmed
yeah.
him and Daryl talking.
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah. Are
haven't
you working
seen it.
hard or hardly working?
That's a classic line, eh?
It's a classic, it's a boomer joke. It's perfect.
Yeah. No one else
Yeah.
thought it was funny. I was like, fuck, all right.
I thought it was funny. I just didn't respond.
I haven't looked at it yet, so I'll laugh react for you.
And I cut you off, Bridget, but you were about to say something about Spider-Man.
Oh no, we just went and saw the latest Spider-Man.
So good.
Is it into the Spider-Verse or across the Spider-Verse?
Across.
Across.
Yeah, unreal.
No
Unbelievable.
spoilers. No spoilers. Haven't seen
Nah,
it.
don't
Yeah.
worry. But even because there's lots of people that are put off, deterred from seeing it because it's animated. Even if you don't like animated,
Watch the first one.
Yeah, no,
it's on
this is-
Disney right now. Watch the first one.
yeah, this is unreal.
Do yourself
It's
a
on
favor.
binge as well. We found it on
Yeah.
binge. Yeah.
Yeah, do yourself a favor. It's so good.
What we're going to do today, we're going to do things a little bit differently because we talk shit for majority of the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So this week we're going to do the powerlifting strength training stuff first.
Nice.
But before we rip into that, CJ, what are you grateful for? Actually, no, you're going to go last. Bridget, what are you grateful for?
I'm grateful for my health because it seems every time a competition comes around, I get a cold and I have a cold again. And so I should be good by this weekend though. I just don't want to lose my voice.
Beauty, she's calling in sick.
Hang on, I got to make a call.
Yeah. Do you know what she's setting up the Sunday sickie? That's what I reckon. So she's going to act like she's a real
Nah,
trooper.
I'm going full Wilcock on this one. I reckon you're fine. You've somehow orchestrated it so you can be like, oh, bro,
Caught something.
I was in the car with Bridget. I'm not feeling so good. I reckon it's actually you planning the whole thing.
It's you.
And Bridget's taking the rap for it.
We are to be continued. You'll find out.
James, what are you grateful for?
I am grateful for Nationals this weekend. I'm grateful because it's like, I don't know, everyone's kind of fired up about powerlifting. It's, for a lot of people, the biggest comp of the year. It's just a cool time to get together and kind of, we're all it's a big weekend, so we're all in the trenches together. But I'm just grateful for it. It's fun. It's just a great weekend.
Comp week's always exciting. It's always a really good vibe in the gym too. Everyone maxing out together and it's great.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited. I'm very excited. I just, I'll talk about my athletes competing soon.
Sweet. CJ.
My weighted blanket. I've said it before, but now that it's really cold, I friggin' love it.
I wanna
It's so
get
good.
one.
Nice.
Yes. I've been sleeping so well now that it's cooler. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's much better. I still sleep with the fan on and like out of
Same.
the covers half the time.
Same.
Really?
Yeah, it needs to
My
be cold.
apartment never gets cold.
Yeah.
Oh,
Never gets cold.
Heat rises.
heat rises.
I'm grateful for those that have walked before us. Like think of James was just saying how cool Nationals is. Competitions like this wouldn't be possible without all the people before us who have put hard work into making powerlifting a sport and running comps to model off and showing us how it can be done so we can reinvent the wheel, make things a little bit better and improve. None of this would exist without hard work of people who have come before us. So I'm grateful for that.
Amazing.
And that applies in every area of life.
Solid. Anyone want to kick us off with a quote?
Oh.
I'll jump in because my grateful comes from my quote, and my quote is, oh no, I've forgotten it. I was listening to a podcast. I was listening to a podcast with a guy called Jamie Beswick, who's a professional BMX rider, who was like he took the crown from a lot of the big names that so Matt Hoffman and then Dave Mirra, and then it was Jamie Beswick, and Jamie Beswick accomplished on like the competition scale more than those guys before him. And his podcast was just really insightful, like really, really way more insightful than I expect from BMX. It's kind of like if you don't really go listen to powerlifters for insight and life advice, because most of them don't really have that. It's kind of the same thing with BMX. Like most people come into BMX because they're thugs. Anyway, he was talking about the concept of we. That's what the quote is then. It was like, there's no such thing as self-made. And I've kind of lived this in my head for a long time, especially when people put it on me like, oh, you've done zero by yourself. No, I haven't. What are you talking about? And so like, even if I rewind to when zero was just me running it, it's like, I couldn't open a gym without knowing what a gym is, without knowing what it looks like. And so like he was talking about it in the context of competing in a solo sport. And if I apply that to powerlifting, it's like, even if you have no coach, you coach yourself, you figured out programming on your own, you didn't. You figured out programming on your own because you read and learned from other sources. And then you figured that out. And it's like, if you're the best powerlifter in the world and you say you've done it on your own, well, you couldn't be the best powerlifter in the world without the bar and the weights. Like there is a we no matter what. And I just really like that.
That's really cool.
It's cool.
It's so my quote is always remember that you're absolutely unique, just like everybody else.
Classic.
Nice.
Classic.
I like that.
Damn, I posted about that once.
Years ago, yeah, and when I saw it, it reminded me of that because in our sport, everybody thinks they're unique. They think they do something a certain way because of, I don't know, certain limb lengths or the way they're built and such. So yeah, I thought it was really cool. And yeah, you're not that unique. Everyone's unique.
What a great oxymoron.
It's deflating and empowering at the same time.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it's like, well, I want to be different. It's like, well, you are, but you're in a category with everyone else.
So is everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But if you're the same as everyone else, it's like, okay, all the struggles that you go through, all the pain that you'll experience, someone else has experienced that too. And so there is a way through that.
Yeah.
It's good. What is mine? I'm just going to read it. Vision gives pain purpose. When you know where you're heading, you can tolerate where you are.
Nice.
I like
So,
that.
yeah, a bit of a motivational one. I saw Tom Hardy reposted one of my old quotes that I said, so we'll see if this is more down his alley.
You watch.
You watch.
Tom Hardy will win the Zero Pro and be like, CJ will make a post. You're welcome. I did that.
Mine's kind of similar to CJ's. Mine's just you are yet to experience all of your happiest days. So yeah, if you're going through a hard time, then happier days are coming.
Nice.
Yeah.
Solid.
Very good. All right.
Before we quickly get into some the topics, I just want to, Tom, bro, how many lifters do you have at Nationals?
That's a good question. We got Kathy Grant.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew Ulm is competing. I coach Jessica Kennedy. Jacob Tapp. I think that's it for my people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really sorry if I've forgotten everyone.
Any predictions on how they're going to go?
Good.
Yep. This will be released the week after, so it'll be pretty cool to see if these predictions come to fruition.
Sorry, shouldn't be chewing this. I'm really excited I'm excited for all of them.
Are you chewing on the thing from the?
He always
oh
does
my
that.
God,
Yeah.
Thomas.
Oh, it keeps your teeth strong.
What?
I don't know if you're being
You're not a dog.
Yeah, like, do you want to know my sick justification? So I genuinely do it because I'm like, well, if I don't do it, my teeth will be weak and then they'll break.
You've done that forever too.
Like my whole life.
Yeah.
But I once saw a documentary of the old Inuit women chewing seal skins. And they're like really old and half their teeth have fallen out. And they're like, this keeps my remaining teeth strong. Okay.
Fair enough.
So for everyone
Maybe they
listening
lost
and not
their
watching,
teeth.
Don't
Maybe
ask
they
questions.
lost their other teeth from chewing on it in the
Nah.
first place.
It's from fighting with a polar bear.
jeez.
Oh, it's so good.
All right. Who you guys got?
I've got Sue Harris, Paris, and Becky Hill. Yeah, so they're all going to smash it. Sue's been a little bit nervous, so all we got to do is keep her calm and she'll kill it. Paris is going to kill it. She's going to break another world record deadlift. And Becky, yeah, she's been killing it in training, so she'll do really well on the day.
Solid.
Just
Yeah.
a reminder, there are no world records in APL.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, that's all right.
Another national record.
Okay, good.
Who have I got? I got Matt Rodwell. He's gonna. My prediction, he's gonna win overall. But Jacob Tapp could be a very close contender, I think.
Their dots are very close.
But they're both on Team Ground Zero. So I'm looking forward to seeing both those guys lift. I'm gonna predict Matt Rodwell's gonna squat and deadlift around 300. And
Strong kid.
yeah, very strong kid. He'll PB everything. His training's been going crazy. And he'll bench hopefully around 185.
Far out.
So he's
In
done
the
so well.
82s or 90s?
He's a very small 90.
He's a light 90.
Yeah, it's good. And then I got Angus Roxburgh. This kid just keeps making progress. Looking for a big PB total. Hopefully get close to that 700. It's just crazy to think. his first competition we did together, he totaled 587, and his third attempt squat was 207.5, and this was less than a year ago. And now at this comp, we're opening on 230 or 220. I can't remember.
Crazy.
Yeah, so he's made insane progress. Jasmine Tong, she hasn't been on board with Zero for that long, but she's made amazing progress as well, and she's had to work around a little bit of a back injury. But I'm hoping for her. I'm hoping for a podium spot in the under 67.5s.
Yes.
And then Drum Grumpy, Big Dave. He's a legend. I love this guy, and he's just made insane progress as well.
Yeah.
He loves it, eh?
Yeah.
Now, I want you to settle a rumor. Is it true that there's massive beef between Vinny and Angus? Because I've heard there's beef.
Do you know? It's so funny because
Just make it real. Make it real.
yeah, I was about to say. Do you know what's funny? They both listen to this, so they'd both probably get really upset. They'd be like, "What? No, I didn't beef with him."
Because they're both so sweet
both
and
so nice.
wholesome.
They're both. I'm creating a beef between them though.
Yeah, you are.
Because they're both under 110s, and they're both gonna hopefully qualify for the Zero Pro, and they literally lift the same numbers.
Yeah.
Which is nuts. One thing Vinny has got on his side is he's young. He's built like a freaking. He looks like a god.
Yeah.
Adonis.
Yeah, he's unreal. So he's got youth on his side. He's very athletic. So he's got a really good base. But Angus he's built like Tom Hardy in the sense that he's relentless.
He's farm strong.
Yeah. Angus ticks all the boxes. He's like Tom Hardy, legit. He
Wants it bad.
Yeah, he wants it bad. And he's a killer, and he's got the biggest nuts when it comes to training. Same thing as Tom Hardy. You know how Tom Hardy will walk out a squat, and he's about to fall over. And he's like, no, I got it. Angus is like that as well.
Love it.
They're just an animal. So it'll be cool to see them two go head to head at the Zero Pro.
Yeah, well, Vinny, next time you're in the gym, come see me. I'll tell you what Angus said about you. See what you think.
That's so good. But so I just want to. This week we're going to do the powerlifting stuff first, like I mentioned before. The first thing I want to talk about is why you should add tempo work into your strength training. Why I think tempo is should have a spot in anybody's strength training program is Thomas. You mentioned it this week as well, but it's really good at fine tuning those motor patterns. Really good at dialing in technique. We often program tempo here at Zero. Like I'm pretty much just repeating what Thomas said this week, but we program tempo not only on the eccentric but on the concentric as well. Because like you see it quite often in the squat, someone's really good at holding position until they hit the hole. So we like to program tempo both ways so they can practice holding position through full range. So it's really good for that. It's just really good for dialing in technique. That's to an extent, that's the biggest reason why why I program any tempo work. But also it's hard. It's a way to make, lighter loads harder. It's
more challenging.
It's way to make it more challenging. Time under tension as well is really good if for hypertrophy purposes. But for me, that's all I was going to say. It's the main reason why I program tempo stuff for a lot of my lifters. And like I said, it's just to make things more challenging to an extent.
We spoke about it last week. So we won't go too in depth on the tempo side of things, but just to reinforce what you said, we call it modulated intensity. So it's a way to make things harder without making them heavier, which is good for a number of reasons. It's really funny, actually. Like, you guys are really familiar with me programming lots of tempo, or Zero programming lots of tempo. I actually used to think it was the dumbest thing ever. I thought tempo work, I'd watch people do tempo work and be like, this is the biggest waste of time because of that reason. I'd watch people go slow on the way down, butcher the position in the hole, lose everything. I'm talking about a squat. And then explode up and just squat just as shitty as they normally squat. It was like, all you're doing is slowing, you're making it harder and then doing the same shitty squat that you always do. The thing that pissed me off about it is because I was focusing too much on what they were saying. And this has always pissed me off about lifting in general, when you can say something and then just make it true. So they'll be like, doing my tempo work for technique. Be like, for technique? You're just doing the same technique you always do. Just go heavier. That would be better. That was my opinion. And then I don't know, I can't remember why. I was just like, oh, you know what? We can actually use this concept of tempo and make it useful from what we believe technical practice is, which is why I go so strongly on the concentric matters. The transition between going down and up matters. That's where things will fall apart when things are heavier. Because if I look at heavy lifts, look at maxing out, I'm like, where do people often lose it? Where do people fail lifts? Where do people look? How do I analyze how someone's going to fail? It's all to do with holding position and where it goes wrong. And tempo is really great for that. And then reverse engineering that, I think back to when I first ever tried Equipped properly in like 2015, I would tell everyone, Equipped it's not actually more technical. It's the same technique as you do in Raw. But I feel like my technique's better because of it. And so thinking on that, it's because you spend so much time thinking about where you are in space because it's so much slower. So taking elements of understanding technique and then turning it into a positive for tempo has been really beneficial for us in our programming.
There's a really weird argument that's going around at the moment. I see it floating around Instagram quite a bit, where people talk about technique doesn't matter that much because when they max out, they revert back to how they squat before. But I don't know what you guys think, but I completely disagree with that. Because when you see, let's just use our lifters or your lifters that you use, for example, Thomas, like when you see Joseph Whitaker squat a PB of 452, it doesn't look that much different to how squats look at 180 kilos.
Yeah.
You got to practice those positions for longer periods of time and be exposed to holding those positions through said tempo work. And eventually the carryover is going to be quite significant.
There's lots of layers to that, right? Because
I'm cherry picking.
Yeah, no, I completely get it, and it's Zero. I agree with you. It's just people. There's a couple of things I want to take from that and like expand on. So one thing that's really annoying with social media is like straw man arguments. So making a statement true and then arguing against it, and in doing so, people let old ideas refuse to die. So the easiest example of this is, typically, powerlifters don't actually care about that nutrition. They just think getting bigger is better. I don't think anyone actually believes that anymore. The only time that people say that or do that is when coaches that are trying to sell nutrition are like, hey, you have to care about your nutrition, so powerlifters are really bad at that. No, we're not. We're fucking awesome at that because we know that better nutrition, being leaner, maximizing your weight class, helps you lift more weight and be better at lifting. Like, that's way outdated. That's like 2010, 2006 kind of thinking. And the same thing happens here with exactly what you're saying, is that, people maybe 10 years ago, 5 years ago were holding people back because they're like, no, we got to fix your technique before we can start to load it up. I don't think anyone does that anymore. Like, I genuinely don't think that there are people out there in our space, like in professional powerlifting, that are like, oh, you better slow down. You better not do that because you're going to, reinforce bad technique. So let's just keep it really light all the time. I don't think anyone actually does that. And so people will put posts that, you shouldn't hyperfixate on technique because you hold someone back. We all train fucking hard. That's how you get stronger. Everyone knows that and everyone's doing it. So I lean a little bit more on the side of, I don't think that's actually happening that much anymore. But I do agree that you're not going to change technique with like 50% of your 1 rep max. There has to be some exposure to load because as you get closer to that, it's specific. However, you can find ways to make things seem heavier to parts of your body that are lacking. So like if Bridget's max squat is, say, 130, that's her maximum capacity to lift that weight with the technique that she has. If we look at her squat and we identify, okay, your upper back is a weakness in this system, then that weakness will show up at a particular percentage. Let's say it shows up at 80%. That means 80% of her 1 rep max in true capacity is actually 100% of her ability to hold her upper back, which means at 60%, 20% less, that's more like, this math isn't perfect, that's more like 80%, which is actually a really valuable training percentage for that particular part of her body. So if we can use things like tempo work, like long pauses, like conditioning phases where technique is a focus, then we can make impacts on these areas of the body that will translate to the top end. And I'm so confident in that because we do it all the time. So doing light technique work has a time and place. Where people go wrong with it is that they just do light work. As in, they're just like, okay, here's my 1 rep max. Here's light relative to that. Here's light relative to that 1 rep max. Therefore, I'm doing technique work. No, you're not. You're just squatting lighter. Like, technique work is actually trying to change your position so then it does impact the top end.
And I use it to make my lifters more aware of their position too.
Yeah, it's more than just absolutes like that. There's so many like cueing things that you can go through, awareness things, just feeling things. Feeling is so much about technique and change and performance learning how to feel things and doing things lighter and slower is so great for that. There's more attributes than just absolute strength that lead to absolute strength.
Yeah, obviously not every coach or everybody has a technical gold standard. But as soon as a lifter stops progressing, what's the first thing coaches normally try to do? They try to fix their technique.
Exactly.
It's like if you placed emphasis on that at the beginning, you might still run into these hurdles, but it makes streamlining your athlete's progress a little bit easier if you're across it right from the start. But
so on that, a lot of people will say that, like a lot of people that you're talking about, as in like, don't hold people back, just let them lift. Technical breakdown is okay. Technical breakdown is okay. You're not going to explode. All I care about when it comes to technique is lifting weight. Is lifting more weight. Like Theo doesn't come and trust me as a coach because I'm saying this is the safest way to move the weight. No, he comes and trusts me as a coach because I'm like, I'm going to get you fucking stronger, and that's what you want, that's what I want, that's what we all want. And a big part of that is how you move. So the coaches that don't have this idea of a gold standard, the absolute end of the road is just the 1 rep max. Whereas for me, that's like a step. So you've got your 1 rep max. If there's breakdowns in that, I believe that there's a ceiling that we can climb towards by fixing technique, by getting on top of it. And the ongoing goal with any lifter under zero, the ongoing goal with any lifter who's trying to progress strength in general should be to close the gap between what perfect is and where someone is now. And that's not just in aesthetics, because that will close the gap in terms of technical capacity, which is all related to your ability to lift weight. That's all I care about, lifting more weight.
So like, obviously we're all strength coaches. CJ, you're a strength trainee. So we're all strength coaches. When someone comes to us to get a program or get some coaching, what's the goal?
To get stronger.
Yeah, get stronger. Every single block you write them, the goal is still to get stronger. I don't think anything changes, obviously, other than your feedback. Like you want them to get stronger. So if they're not making visually at the start they're not making progress in terms of what you deem the ideal gold standard of technique, it's you're still gonna, like, to me. Sorry, this kind of doesn't make sense. In my head it does. To me, you're still moving forward. Like, you're still trying to get stronger. The load still increases every single block. Well, no, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Over time, it still goes up.
Yeah. But like, we've never ever placed an emphasis, like you've said, purely on technique. The goal still remains to get stronger.
Yeah, and I think the problem is that people think you can't do both. People think you're either working on getting stronger or working on technique. No, fuck that. We're always working on getting stronger, and the way we're doing that is by working on technique. We're always doing both at the same time. And if strength isn't going up, then we need to fix something. And it exists in blocks. Like, what do you guys do with your technical approach when someone's in a peak? Do you go harder on it, or do you pull back and just let them lift weights?
I let them do their thing.
Yeah,
Just
same.
pull back and let them lift weights.
Mm.
It's not the time and place to change technique. It's just about lifting weights.
The last thing you want to do before a comp is change up someone's technique
Nah.
if it's working.
Or get them overthinking it. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
giving them 10,000 in cues when they're trying to do singles. Fuck that. When you're
Exactly.
doing singles, you're not thinking. You're just thinking, don't die. Your body goes into autopilot. Our job leading into that is to make sure the autopilot is the best technique possible.
Fuck, I wish there was somewhere that people could learn about this kind of stuff.
It's funny you mention that, James.
Zero Coach Development course. Do it.
Is there an intake coming up soon?
Yeah, end of June.
Yeah, nice. Sign
End of
up to it. It's really good.
Yeah, thank you. I sometimes, like, I made that post yesterday and heaps of zero people shared it as like, this is a great course. And sometimes I want to make a follow-up post to be like, hey, people don't share it because I'm telling my staff you have to share this. They're actually doing it because they think there's value in it.
Yeah, I don't even tag you in it. I just share it.
It makes me feel good. So thank you.
All right. The next thing. What to do if you're not recovering enough between sessions?
Depends, like, have you increased your dose recently?
I was just going to say more
Are you
drugs.
have you added a compound, taken something away?
That's what it is.
Like CJ knows.
Very well, firsthand.
Have you used your CBD oil and your CBD balms?
Whoa. Random drug test at work tomorrow.
Yeah, I want to find out what I'm on.
Find out.
Want to find out if my stuff's clean.
I want to see what it's laced with. Oh, gosh.
Wait, have you actually started on the CBD oils?
I haven't, no.
Oh.
No, I just thought I'd chuck that out there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was curious as to his experience.
Yeah, I wonder if that shit's any good.
Well, before I knew Buddy needed surgery and like we were away and it was just like he's in pain and we don't know what's up, we gave him CBD oil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How'd it work? Was it good?
Nah, because his knee ligament is destroyed. So, like, in terms of pain relief, it's hard to say because they can't tell you. Like, Buddy hasn't fussed about the pain.
How do you administer it to him?
It's just like an oral oil.
Oh, okay.
I know Alex had great results with his dogs.
So many people do.
Yeah. Yeah. It's,
Dogs who have like seizures and stuff as well. It's really good for them.
Wow.
Yeah, I always hated it. I've only tried it a few times.
Yeah.
For sleep.
What don't you
and
like about
it makes me sleep worse because like I measure a good sleep not just by sleep but by dreaming. It makes me sleep longer with no dreams, which sort of says to me I'm not actually going into REM. And I just anything weed related, even if it doesn't have THC, seems to make me super wigged out and paranoid.
Yeah, wow. Me, on the other hand, I thoroughly see the positive side to it.
No, I'm all for it if it helps people for sure. Anyway, that wasn't quite the topic. What recovery?
Recovery. Well, what to do if you're not recovering enough between sessions?
What would you say?
Smoke more weed. Do more
Look
drugs.
at the external
No.
factors.
Yeah,
Make sure you're eating enough. Make sure you're sleeping enough. Getting enough water. You're stressing yourself out at work.
There are
all of
lots.
that.
Yeah, there are lots of layers to this. So let's remove the what Bridget's already mentioned. So we can take hydration, we can take sleep, we can take nutrition out of it. Is there anything else that could be hindering our ability to recover between sessions?
Then it becomes about input, as in what's your training?
Yeah.
What's your external stress?
So like when you see, I'm just going to use a random example here. So there's multiple people in our gym that bench multiple times a week. So if someone's benching 4 times a week, back to back to back to back, like what could be hindering their performance each session? For me, it's like, well, you've already benched 4 times this week.
Yeah.
I have a feeling, your output and your, you're not really managing your volume and your intensity well enough. So it could be a programming thing.
Yep.
So if you are struggling to recover between sessions, you could, and you are in charge of your own programming, you could possibly sit down with a coach and go over and see if having someone else's input can always help.
Yep. Yeah. Frequency is an interesting thing because it's kind of like inherently where we go more is better, like more is more. And we do it in everything in training. We're like, okay, well, if I can do this much on the lat pull down, if I can do more, that's better. So we just add weight. And we do that in like micro and macro scales all over the place. And frequency is one of them. And I mean, you can talk to Ben Polk, you can talk to me, you can talk to Stenzel. James and I were just talking about this downstairs about Shaco. There's one particular block of the Shaco, like templates that were bastardized and that everyone followed 10 years ago, where you benched 8 times a week. So that you didn't hear that wrong, 8 times a week. It's like 3 double sessions, as in like 3, you'd normally split them up, morning, afternoon. So there's 6 sessions a week in 3 days, and then another 2 on top of that. And I'm pretty sure Stenzel, myself, and Ben have all done that. And we survived, but it's not sustainable.
Did you find any benefit to it?
No. I mean, no. No, I wouldn't never do it again.
Did you have a spike in progression when you started it?
Not really. I had a spike in DOMs.
But that's a measure of a good workout.
A spike in elbow tendonitis as a 22-year-old. Pretty much.
Can you remember, just randomly, can you remember when Max Ieda ran Shaco twice? Like, he did double Shaco?
Like at the same time?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know how he's still alive.
Yeah, wild. I don't follow him anymore. Is he still around?
I haven't seen his stuff in forever.
I used to love that guy.
Yeah, he was the man.
Yeah.
And that's how I actually ran Smolov the first time, because I saw him talking about it.
Yeah.
So I ran Smolov back to back when I was in a moon boot. And I got really fucking strong, but yeah, I tore my pec.
Yeah.
Like just a really minor pec tear. But yeah, it was a lot like you said, the progress wasn't really how do I say this?
Well, like it's a short spike, and a lot of it is because you stop putting effort into everything else.
Yeah.
So like, if all of us just stopped doing squats and deadlifts for 4 weeks and only benched, our bench would feel way stronger. Then as soon as you add squats and deadlifts back in, it kind of equalizes and goes back to where it was. That's a lot of what the gains are in these like hyper-specific, hyper-frequent programs.
Yeah, and it's funny now that I look back. It's like all I kind of did was just peak my bench.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of each block, it's like, oh yeah, I can see how I made progress.
Yeah. It's like Max I did a lot of crazy stuff, and it's funny. This morning, I came across Ben Rice, and you guys probably have no idea who Ben Rice is.
I love Ben Rice.
Yeah, okay, good. So Ben Rice is like the king of internet lore, like for lifting. Back in the day, he was like the beacon. And I stumbled on his Instagram page this morning, and he's doing this thing where he's deadlifting 700 pounds every week for 5 years. And he's 3 years in. So 318 kilos is 700 pounds. He's doing it once a week, every week for 5 years. As just like, here's how consistent I'm going to be. And it's Ben Rice. Like, you have to love it because he's the most lovable person.
He is. He was like the first guy to kind of, was he the first guy on Twitch? Like in the powerlifting
I
world?
think so. Like,
Yeah.
he was definitely an early adopter.
Yeah. He's the man.
This guy got sponsored by Animal. Do you know what Animal is? Yeah. Like, Animal was like the company you wanted to be sponsored by. And he turned it down. He's like, I can't in good faith keep this sponsorship because I feel like I don't use their supplements enough.
Wow.
That's the kind of integrity Ben Rice has.
He is a very lovable bloke, eh?
Very lovable.
Yeah, wow.
Who else did...
Like, wait, I got to keep going about Ben Rice.
Is he still around? Is he still current? Like, is
Yeah. He's honest. This guy like sings in a choir with the most angelic voice you've ever seen.
Really?
I'm all about Ben Rice.
He is the man.
I love it.
He was, I don't know if he still does. Does he still compete in the 93s or 105s?
He definitely looks about the same size. So yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, he was the man. Who else did something crazy like that? Chris Duffin. He squatted 900 pounds
Something stupid.
for a whole month.
Yeah. Every day?
Yeah, every day.
Yeah.
For a whole month. Could you imagine walking to the gym every day knowing you had to put 900 pounds on your back?
Like, that sort of stuff is just like the canary in the mine, because if that kind of person can still be alive on the amount of drugs you'd have to take to sustain that, we're all going to be fine no matter what we do.
Yeah, he didn't explode, so he's still around.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
So good. But yeah, so we've kind of covered
Well, just to tie that off, like that's where I would end up, is like, if all recovery factors, sleep, nutrition, are all perfect, and you're still not recovering properly, and all stress factors are accounted for, it's your programming, 100%.
Yeah. Make sure you implement a deload week if you're not already.
Mm-hmm.
deload weeks are stupid though, eh?
Yes.
They're not stupid.
West time.
Yeah, do them. Do your deloads. All right. What have I got next here? How to hit PBs weekly in your training.
Are we just talking SBD or?
It could be anything. What do you guys think?
There should be a question straight away, which is, should you be hitting PBs in your training every week? And the answer is no.
Yes, the answer is no, to an extent.
Yeah. Like, I mean, think of it like this. If you're trying to push an extra rep, an extra set, an extra bit of weight on an exercise, any exercise, doesn't even have to be the main lift, every week, that would be like Usain Bolt trying to sprint faster every week. Like, there's a point where it's just not going to happen anymore. And so you have to be able to stand back and look at the bigger picture and be like, am I progressing over time at what I want to progress in? Because that's what people lose sight of. It's like, really want to get my bicep curl. I've stalled in getting my bicep curls up heavier or adding a rep or whatever. It's like, is your goal only bigger biceps, or is your goal to stand on stage and to place at a bodybuilding show, or to get on a powerlifting platform and win? Are you working towards that as a whole? That's what you need to focus on.
Yeah, so the reason why I asked this is I've got a client and a good friend, Nikki Huzar, who trains like...
Nikki.
She trains very hard, and she's
does.
prepping for a bodybuilding show. I think she's 20 weeks out. And, you know, she gets a little bit upset if she's not progressing each week in load. And I said to her the other week, I was like, I'm not saying her deadlift's dog shit, she's got a great deadlift, but if you deadlift with really shitty form, but the weight goes up, it's like, did you really progress? Like, you know, there's other ways in absolute load on the bar to measure your progress. Like, I think, there's other ways you can measure. There's other ways to measure progress. You might have got one more rep. Yes, that's progress. You might have lifted 5 kilos more. That's progress. But also being able to deadlift pain-free that session, that's also progress.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be...
technical progressions, being able to hold your position better than you did the week before.
And 100%. And what does that lead to? Ultimately, that leads to in the
Lifting-
future,
lifting
like
more
we
weight.
talked about, being trying to think long sighted. Just gonna then it's gonna come. You're gonna get stronger over time.
I think it can be really hard with accessory work, especially because you can make these micro changes without realizing. And the easiest way to make these micro changes without realizing is by increasing the load but decreasing the range. And so for myself personally, and I try and build this into the notes in my programming for people, is missing things like or not or having parameters that people can adhere to every week. So for example, when I do a lat pull down, I try and pick an implement where I can go through full range and touch my chest. So if I don't touch my chest, I'm like, I skipped that rep. I didn't do the same quality rep as the quality of the rep that I'm looking for. And I try and set parameters for that. Like in dumbbell press, if you don't touch your chest, you don't actually know what range you've gone through. And it'd be easy to increase the range and just like increase the weight and decrease the range by 1 inch. So if you touch your chest every single rep, you know, okay, I'm going through the full range and now I've added weight, therefore I've gotten stronger. So try and build parameters into the accessories that you do, so you know that you're doing the same movement every single week.
I don't know if you. When's the last time you've seen any of my programming, Thomas?
Recently.
Recently. So I'm a big notes guy.
Yeah.
Because especially for people that, you know, don't have a comp in mind, like training can get a little bit monotonous. It can at times get boring, and these people obviously you can't help but you lose sight of the bigger picture. So what I like to do is obviously implement lots of notes and, you know, give people things to work towards on every single accessory, whether it be just like an AMRAP on your last set, but emphasizing holding this position or something like that. It really keeps people, you know, zoned in on what they're trying to achieve, and it just
makes a huge difference.
It just keeps things interesting.
For sure.
Everyone wants a goal.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have a question. Since we're talking about, you know, going through full range, what do you constitute training to failure on an accessory? Do you consider it failure once you can't do a full rep, or once you can't do partials? Or I was chatting to this with Eli the other night.
Well,
And
David, what I constitute as a failure is David the other day. He didn't get 11 reps on bench, so he failed.
The session.
We love you, David.
He failed at powerlifting.
Yeah, but so that's a good example though, because like in a bench, when you fail, you can't get it to the top. Whereas in something like a row or a lat pull down, you fail on the way down if you can't complete that range. So I would consider if you can touch your chest every rep on a lat pull down, and then on say rep 11, you can't get it to your chest, that's a failure. But that doesn't mean you can't keep going and do partials.
Yeah.
So I'd count partials as beyond the point of failure.
What about in terms of training for hypertrophy? When would you get someone to stop the set?
At that, like I wouldn't go beyond failure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I subscribe to the like Mike Israel camp of team full ROM and using RIR and training close to true RIR, but very rarely going to actual failure. But I'll lean into that for smaller muscle groups that recover well, like biceps or rear delts or stuff like that.
There, I've got some face-to-face clients that I like. Some people just don't have the coordination to understand where the body is in space. A lot of the time, obviously they're progressing and they're getting better. But what I do, it's a bit of a dick move. I don't do this all the time, but I say the rep doesn't count. Or when I'm counting the reps, we're like 8, you're still on 8. And it creates a little bit of a, you know, then they have to start thinking about what they're doing. Yeah. And then they've got a little bit of an understanding of what they're doing. And it's like, wait, I didn't do this. Okay, cool.
To earn it.
Yeah.
Earn the rep.
Yeah,
nice.
I like that.
Yeah, same.
Because the less experienced people, they'll get technical failure before mechanical failure. Like they'll lose, which is the same thing. I mean, I hate it when people try and make it sound like it's really different. Technical failure is just when a part of technique is letting you down, like your shoulder loses position or whatever, which is because of strength, ultimately. But if you're trying to train a particular muscle group, excuse me, and the technical failure lets you down first, that's kind of saying, well, you might have more left in that muscle. But intermediate people will just get real sloppy towards the end, and that's kind of like their failure. Whereas as you get more experience, you can get to true muscular failure, which sucks.
Yes.
That's pretty much us.
All
Nice.
Right. We got anything to talk shit about at the end?
Yeah, did you bring up any cool like Reddit would you rathers?
Any trivia? Any
You've
quizzes?
had 3 weeks now. You've known every week.
Drop
We
the
ask
ball.
about this every week.
Oh,
You didn't, did you?
this is
No.
like CJ with his gratefuls.
Oh wow.
Oh, I didn't know this was coming. Not prepared for it.
Oh god.
I'm hearing a lot of shit talk from a lot of people that don't contribute to the planning of the podcast.
No.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize this was meant to be a group effort. Be like CJ complaining, well, none of you guys are filming.
Do you know what's funny? I remember ages ago I complained about it. I'm like, oh, I need you guys to help me with this. And then Thomas goes, well, you put what you think's in there and then we'll add to it. No one's ever added to it.
I think I said something once.
Once. Oh gosh.
All right, we'll leave it there. See you all at Nationals. Love you. Bye.
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 Thank you so much for listening to the ZeroW Podcast. If you want more information, head to our Instagram, @zero_weakness. Hit the link in the bio for all of our services and any information on upcoming workshops and events. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review so we can have a broader reach and answer more people's questions. Thank you once more.